S3, S4 Physics, AC and DC. AC and DC. DC is direct current. Its definition is the direction of flow of charge is in one direction only. Direct current, it comes from different supplies. An example of a DC supply is a battery or a cell. But we also have a symbol for a direct current supply, which is shown by two terminals with a plus and a minus sign, showing that there's an electric field between them. An example of a DC trace on a cathode ray oscilloscope shows a line either above or below the zero line, but never both. So on this CRO, the zero line would be here. The DC is always constantly positive or constantly negative. Alternating current. Definition: the direction of flow of charge repeatedly reverses. Or you could say changes direction constantly or changes direction frequently. An example of an AC supply is a main socket. Main supply in the UK is 230 volts and has a frequency of 50 Hz, which means the current changes direction 50 times every second. The symbol for an AC supply, similar to the DC supply in that we have two terminals, except we see a wave in between showing that the current is alternating. An example of an AC trace on a cathode ray oscilloscope would show that the current can be both positive and negative and varies between the two. On this trace, here would be the zero line. Above the zero line, we see the current is positive. Below the zero line, the current is negative. Review questions. State the definition of direct current. Direct current is where the flow of charge is in one direction only. Draw the symbol for an AC supply. An AC supply, remember, has terminals and an alternating wave shown in between them. State the mains voltage of the UK. UK mains voltage is 230 volts at 50 Hz. Is the CRO image on the next slide AC or DC, and explain your answer. And this is a very common question at National 5 level. It's worth 2 marks. You get 1 mark for identifying if it's AC or DC, and 1 mark for explaining your answer. So here we see in the oscilloscope trace, although we have flat lines, which you ordinarily would see within DC, we can see clearly, if this is the zero line, that the current changes direction. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. So this must be an AC wave. Here are the review answers. Here's a past paper question. A student makes the following statements about AC and DC circuits. Statement 1. In an AC circuit, the direction of current changes regularly. In a DC circuit, negative charges flow in one direction only. In an AC circuit, the size of the current varies with time. All of these statements are correct. In an AC signal, current does change direction regularly. In DC, charges flow in one direction only. And we see as an AC signal alternates, imagine here's our zero line, we're alternating up and down. The value of the size of the current must vary with time, as well as the direction.